Hello. This is once again time for Pardon My Vlog. Pardon my vlog. Pardon my vlog. It's vlogging time. Blah 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 blah. So, what's going on this time? I thought I'd speak to you about the rules of NaNoWriMo, and then give you a better idea of what I'm writing for NaNoWriMo. So, the rules are simple. You set a word limit. You figure out how many words a day you need to write for that, to reach that goal. And then you stick to it for a month. So, I'm aiming for 50,000 words. That means I have to write 1,500 words a day over November to achieve my goal. Can I do it? Who knows? Will I give it the best try I can? Probably. I hope so. I've flunked out before because of ill health, and I don't want to do that again this month. This Rimo, because I'm really looking forward to it. This is my assistant presenter. I think you know. My little cat. Anyway, so there is a third unspoken rule of NaNoWriMo that you can do as much research as you want, but you can't start writing it until November 1st. So you can do as much preparation as you want, but it has to begin November 1st, which I think is a fair rule, certainly one I've stuck to. So I've done all manner of research for my novel, because it's a historical piece, not a work of fantasy or science fiction. I've had to do a lot more research than I normally do for a novel, which has been quite interesting. So I've been researching the time period, not just sort of the Wikipedia articles and the books and stuff, and sort of a few interesting excerpts from history books that are online, but I've also looked into news reports, opinion pieces about the time, because they're just as important and actually give you a slightly better feel for the era, I think, because obviously history is written with the benefit of hindsight, so what might be seen as a positive thing later on will be scoffed at later. You know, there's all manner of examples of this. So, my novel is set in 1972, just before Richard Nixon did his landmark tour of China, which opened Chinese trade to America and all manner of trade deals that really was responsible for the wealth of the 1980s. So, the basis of the plot is there is some manner of conspiracy. It's all sort of leading up to this event in China. It's based around two brothers, one of whom is a sheriff in a small Arizona town. I have looked at maps of the era of a couple of townships from Arizona, and I'm still debating whether or not to make it a fictionalized one or just not to name it. But it's just a pretty standard small American town. The brother is some kind of conspiracy nut and disappears. There's a murder, and it seems like the brother did it, but there are a number of clues that make things ambiguous. This is all the opening, first 5 chapters type deal. The sheriff finds that his brother seems to believe that this person was a Soviet spy. Now, the Cold War at this point was on a low front. During the 70s, really Russia and America focused heavily on basically making things better in their own countries, rather than expending a lot of work in sort of espionage work. Though this is coming off the 1960s, where there was a lot of espionage. And also there's the Vietnam War still going on in the background, so that's a very important political indicator. I've got 1 or 2 scenes linked to that, but I feel I should make that more integral to the plot in a way. Neither of the brothers is a Vietnam vet, though they both served in World War II and Korea. well, the sheriff served in World War II, the younger one served in Korea, and in World War II, but in a non-combative role. It's explained. So, yeah, it's also my first time writing this kind of novel. I've written mysteries before, not particularly good ones, but I've tried to. And this is the first time I've written a political thriller of this kind, and I'm enjoying it. It's sort of not the kind of characters I normally write. I normally write women for a start, and this time I'm writing a middle-aged man. He's nearly in his 60s, and yeah, it's a different point of view, and I'm quite enjoying it. I realise that's the exact opposite of the norm. Normally people write middle-aged white men, and I'm like, oh, this is weird and strange. I normally write women. Of all manner of ethnicities. But, yeah, it's also, it's a different era. There's a very different feel to it. There's still the American optimism, but sort of not tinged with decadence that the 1980s brings, which will be an interesting sort of... There's a sort of melancholy to the 1970s that I've found in media, where it's sort of the end of America's greatness, and I'm not sure if that's coming from hindsight or not. I haven't researched enough into opinions of the time. So, yeah, that's sort of a brief rambling thing about what I'm going to do. I really don't want to give much away, because I don't know, because I'm an exploration writer. I find if I know too much about a project going in, directly pertaining to the plot and character growth and that kind of thing, I get bored with it. And that's something I'm really worrying about over this month, that I'll get bored with the novel. And I just need to plough ahead with it, I think. Yeah, I mean, I revel in sort of coming up with as many details of background and world and other ancillary stuff, but it's all sort of on that point line before the plot. You know, so it's like, here's everything that's happened up to the plot, and then we're making it up from here. So hopefully I can write something interesting, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy it. So starting next month, what we're going to do is, instead of individual vlogs, me and Daniel are going to get together every Friday, probably with Google Hangouts, and just talk about how well we've done over the week, whether we've kept a word count, interesting scenes we've written, stuff like that. Just a bit more informal, a lot less editing, and really just keeping stuff to the grindstone. Also, we're still going to be continuing on the folk. Next month is Tales from the Sea. I think we're focusing mainly around the British Isles for these, though. I know Dan's got some Selkie stories he wants to tell, and I want to tell some things about Manannán mac Lir, one of the Tuatha De Danann Irish folk, well, Irish gods. So yeah, that's all for this week. Hope you had fun. See you soon.